Mic check, what's going on? Welcome back to another Hip-Hop Snapshot. I'm your host, Ross Martinez, and today we're going to launch and start our Power to the People 5-episode spotlight. We're going to talk about organizations, people, and songs that represented resistance, protest, and the message. Today, where do we begin with this, right? Well, we're going to start with the record that stopped the party and made everybody listen to a message. Today, we're going to talk about Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five. Grab a milk crate, take a seat. It's time to talk hip-hop history. Let's go back to the early 1980s in New York City, South Bronx specifically. The city was broke, quite literally. Factories had closed, buildings were crumbling, unemployment was sky high. Reaganomics had begun to bleed the poor dry. And worst of all, the crack epidemic was brewing. And communities like the Bronx were the first casualties. This was the backdrop. This was the noise behind the music. So when Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five were on the rise, they were the soundtrack to both the party and eventually the pain. Up until that point, hip-hop was an escape. It was a block party. It was bravado, hip-hop, hip-hop, and you don't stop. But Sylvia Robinson, CEO of Sugar Hill Records, knew the tide was turning. She told Melly Mel and co-writer Duke Booty, tell them what's really going on in the community. And that is how the message was born. Don't push me, 'cause I'm close to the edge. One of the most famous hooks in hip-hop history started with a conversation. Duke Booty, a session musician and teacher from Jersey, had been scribbling lyrics based on what he saw outside his window. Broken buildings, kids dodging junkies, mothers struggling with bills. He laid down a rough demo and Sylvia heard gold. She handed it to Melly Mel, who added verses, sharpened the message, and made it a cut. Now, here's something people forget. The rest of the Furious Five, Grandmaster Flash including, didn't want to do the record. Flash didn't produce it at all. The group thought it was too serious, too risky. It broke the formula. It wasn't party music anymore. But Sylvia, she didn't need party music anymore. They put it to wax and it dropped in 1982. It hit like a brick through a stained glass window. The message wasn't just a song. It was journalism on wax. A child's born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind. That wasn't a metaphor. That was reality. The city was ignoring the poorest residents. Schools were failing. Landlords were burning down their own buildings for insurance money. Cops, nowhere in sight. Hospitals turned people away. Melly Mel stepped to the booth and told the truth nobody else wanted to print. This was the moment hip-hop stopped being the party and became the report card. The message, it went platinum. It made Billboard's top 10. It got inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame, archived by the Library of Congress, and is still listed among Rolling Stone's greatest songs of all time. But even more than awards, it gave rap permission to speak out. Let's say, hypothetically, in history, the message was never produced, right? Well, Fight the Power doesn't make it. All Right by Kendrick Lamar doesn't make it. No Kendrick, no Nas, no Dead Prez, no Public Enemy. And sadly, most of the lines still read like today's headlines. Decades later, we're still yelling the same warnings. Here's what the record taught us, and me specifically. Truth doesn't need a cosign. You don't need a top 40 beat to hit a nerve. The track didn't chart because it was catchy. It charted because it was real. It was authentic. If hip-hop is the people's voice, the message was the moment we cleared our throat. Until next time, dig in some crates, get some knowledge, use your voice for change. And above everything, be hip-hop. I'm out. Peace.